In the forgotten corners of Maharashtra lies a small, decaying village called Bhairavpur, a place where time itself seems to stand still. No one visits. No one leaves after sunset. Because once the sun disappears behind the hills, the village changes. It's said that something wakes up something that watches and whispers. The villagers live simple lives: farmers, potters, old grandmothers sitting outside mud houses, but their eyes always flicker toward one thing: the old stone well in the middle of the square. Covered in moss, surrounded by dried tulsi plants, and a rusted chain hanging down its side, it looks ordinary. But every villager knows, once the clock strikes midnight, the well becomes alive. No one goes near it. No one draws water from it, because it's said to whisper names, and whoever answers never sees the morning. One monsoon season, Aniket, a 26-year-old man, returned from Mumbai. His parents had died years ago, leaving behind their ancestral home in Bhairavpur. He came back to sell the property, or maybe fix it up. The villagers warned him, "Beta, after sunset, lock your doors. Don't go near the well." He laughed it off. "You people and your ghost stories," he said. To him, it was all just old superstition, something to laugh about over tea. But deep down, he noticed something strange. Dogs never barked after dark. The temple bell rang by itself every night at 2:13 a.m. And sometimes from his window, he could see a faint blue light flickering near the well. A few nights later, his childhood friends came over drinking, joking, reminiscing. When the talk turned to the haunted well, Aniket smirked. "You people are cowards. I'll prove there's nothing there." Despite their protests, he grabbed a lantern and headed out into the cold, fog-covered night. Sound: wind howling, footsteps crunching on gravel. The village was silent, unnaturally silent. Even the crickets had stopped. The well stood there in the middle of the square, covered in moonlight. As he approached, the air turned icy cold. His breath came out in pale mist. And then, he heard it. "Aniket." A soft, trembling voice echoed from deep inside the well. He froze. It was his mother's voice. "Aniket, come closer, beta." His hands trembled. He leaned over, holding the lantern above the water. The flame flickered violently. The reflection in the water wasn't his own. It was his mother's face, pale and drenched, eyes wide and unblinking. "Come, I'm waiting." And before he could step back, a cold, slimy hand shot out of the darkness, grabbing his wrist. Aniket screamed, his voice echoing through the entire village. Doors opened, lights flickered. But when the villagers reached the well, there was nothing. Only his lantern, still burning, beside the stone edge. And faint, wet footprints leading away into the darkness toward his old house. That night, no one slept. The next morning, the well water had turned murky red, and a faint smell of decay filled the air. Aniket was never found. A few weeks later, strange things began to happen. At night, people heard knocks on their doors, followed by a whisper, "Please, help me out." Those who opened their doors never returned. Their houses stood empty, doors half open, the smell of wet earth lingering inside. And every full moon, villagers say they see a shadow standing by the well, a tall figure holding a lantern, staring down, as if waiting for someone else to join him. When they look closely, the reflection in the water shows two faces, one human, and one bloated, lifeless, smiling. Now, no one dares to say his name after dark. Because the moment you do, the whisper starts again. "Come closer." They say Bhairavpur is empty now. The fields are overgrown, the houses crumble. But at midnight, the lantern by the well still burns, waiting for the next fool who doesn't believe. In the golden sands of Rajasthan lies a village, abandoned for more than 200 years. No laughter, no prayers, no animals, only ruins and whispers carried by the wind. This place is called Kuldara, near Jaisalmer. Locals call it the Cursed Village, because one night every man, woman, and child vanished, and no one knows where they went. 2 centuries ago, Kuldara was home to the Paliwal Brahmins, a wealthy and learned community. The villagers were known for their intelligence, their water harvesting systems, and their kindness. The desert bloomed under their care wells, farms, sandstone homes glowing in the sun. But behind that peaceful beauty, something dark was growing. The ruler of Jaisalmer at the time, Salim Singh, the powerful and ruthless Divan, became obsessed with a young girl from Kuldara. She was said to be breathtakingly beautiful, and Salim Singh wanted to make her his wife. When her family refused, the Divan grew furious. He threatened to storm the village, seize the girl by force, and destroy anyone who stood in his way. The villagers gathered under the cold desert moon, elders, women, children, everyone. Messengers ran between Kuldara and the neighboring Paliwal villages. They decided on one thing: to disappear together. That night, torches flickered through the desert streets as they packed their carts, taking only what they could carry. Before dawn, every family left. But before leaving, they gathered at the central temple and the priest performed a final ritual. They placed their hands on the ground and whispered a curse. No one will ever live here again. Whoever tries will suffer and die. By sunrise, the village was empty. The fires in the hearths still burned. The food was half cooked, but not a single soul remained. When soldiers of the Diwan arrived, they found only silence and footprints leading into the desert, fading into nothing. No bodies, no blood, just gone. And true to the curse, no one who tried to settle in Kuldara ever survived long. Stories began to spread of shadows moving between the ruins, of soft crying near the old temple, and footsteps following travelers at night. Camel herders said they heard a woman's voice calling for help from the empty houses. Paranormal teams who visited reported cold spots, equipment failing, and whispers in the dark in Sanskrit, as if priests were still chanting. Even the locals of Jaisalmer refused to stay there after sunset. The guards locked the gates by evening. They say if you stay overnight, you don't wake up the same. In 2010, a group of Delhi college students spent a night in Kuldara for a documentary. At around 2:45 a.m., they claimed to hear footsteps circling their tent, even though the sand showed no tracks in the morning. One of them reported seeing a figure draped in white standing near the temple, then vanishing. In another case, a paranormal research team recorded a woman's voice saying, "Chale gao," leave this place. Their cameras malfunctioned moments later. Whether it's psychological fear, the desert wind, or something older still guarding the ruins, no one knows. Today, Kuldara is a tourist spot. Visitors wander through its cracked houses, touching walls that have seen centuries of silence. But locals warn, don't pick up the stones, don't mock the curse. Kuldara remembers. Every full moon, the desert wind carries faint voices, laughter, anklet bells, and the echo of a temple song. Some say the Paliwals are still wandering somewhere in the dunes, waiting for their home to be cleansed of the Diwan's shadow. Until then, Kuldara sleeps not in peace, but in memory.